to Bourbon Bite-Sized Learning.
It's been a minute.
It's been a minute. We've missed it. We've missed you guys. We hope we haven't lost people. We've had illness, we've had weather, we've had all kinds of excuses, but we did agree. We talked about it and agreed we want to continue it. So please let us know if this is something you want to continue or you're enjoying it as much as we are. So, and our new calendars are here. And we're not on the correct date this time because of weather, but we decided go ahead and do our January. But we'll try to get back to where we're doing the first Friday of each month. But please check in periodically, and we'll get to you when we can.
On Facebook, for the new ones, and then if you want to go back and see our old ones, you can visit those on YouTube. Their whole catalog is on YouTube, so you can go to the Bourbon County Extension Office YouTube page.
But Casey's got the new calendar. We got our red and white gingham tablecloth and all new recipes. So let's start out and see what you think about them, okay? We're starting with one today that is split pea soup, which is a perfect comfort food in all this crazy weather. You will notice it's a few more ingredients. It's not that hard of a recipe. It's just you need to do your prep work, okay?
Yeah.
We went ahead and cut everything up, got everything ready to go. It's just really quick once you get to that because it's a dump. It's basically a dump recipe. So, first thing we're gonna do is put our oil and get our pot hot here. We're gonna start out by putting our 2 tablespoons of oil in our larger pot. I had already put 1 tablespoon in it. That looked like a small amount. Got carried away and forgot to use my little container so you could see what we're putting in. As soon as this heats up just a little bit, we are going to put in our onions, our celery, our carrots, and Casey's the keeper of the recipe. The carrots go into the potatoes going now.
Onion and celery first.
Okay, no carrots.
Onion and celery.
Okay.
And then that goes for about 5 to 7 minutes.
Oh yeah, I heard that sizzle, so it was ready.
Yeah. Already the smells so good. There's nothing like the sizzling of onion and celery.
And sauteed or grilled onions are my favorite. Even for like a burger, I love to have the grilled.
Yeah, so good. Caramelized onions.
So we're waiting for these just to soften. The onions. Once the onions are softened, we'll move on to the next step, which is...
So after this is done, you'll add in the carrots, the potatoes, the split peas, our seasoning, all of it, and then our broth and water. So everything goes in the pot.
The only time, so once we get this done, then we throw it in and we let it go for an hour, I believe. Cook for an hour, but we're not going to put all the water in. We got 4 cups of water here, and we start out with 2 cups and let it cook. And as it gets thick, this is where you determine the thickness, whether you want it more stew-like or you want it more soup-like. So you do have some control. You always have control of changing the ingredients a little bit, but this is what the calendar says, so that's what we're gonna do. I will tell you, my first instinct was to cut the celery in larger chunks because I think of soup, larger pieces of celery, but it said dice it, so I did it exactly like the recipe, but you can try it a different way and see what you think. And I don't know. I think maybe it's because the split peas are so small.
Right. Yeah.
So that in proportion, I don't know. Yeah. I didn't write the recipe. We're just trying for you, okay? So I think we're about ready. Actually, Yep. I think we're ready. The onions are ready. So here we go with all of our carrots. And you think about the ingredients. in this recipe. Not real expensive.
Yeah, staples. Yeah.
Carrots are reasonable. Celery, everything's gone up a little bit. Celery's reasonable. Onions.
The bag of split peas is very inexpensive, especially when you're looking at a protein source, because that is the protein in this recipe. Very inexpensive compared to, you know, a meat source of protein.
And it did ask that you kind of sort the split peas. They come in a bag, and kind of sort through them, make sure there's no rock or anything extra. I can remember that was my job with the pinto beans when I was growing up. My mom made me sit down, and there used to be rock in it all the time. I don't find much anymore.
No.
And then it asks that you rinse them. I will tell you, once you rinse them, they kind of stick together. So don't be surprised if it all comes out in one big lump. Okay, once you see how it's all grouped together, that's where I've rinsed them. And let's put half of our water in, so maybe that'll loosen them up a little. They'll come apart as they heat. But I was a little shocked. Plus, they stuck to my fingers when I was rinsing them. We didn't eat split.
Have a little starch in them. Yeah.
We did not eat split peas in my house when I was growing up, but they're good. Oh, and our chicken broth. I forgot about that. We're going to use the whole 32 ounces of vegetable broth. If you want it, you could change it to chicken or beef if you prefer, but the recipe calls for chicken broth.
They're interchangeable. That's what I like.
I use what I've got when it calls for it.
Yeah.
Okay. We've got salt. We've got a little bit of red pepper flakes. I remember, I think it's 1/4 of a teaspoon or something, just to spice it up a little bit.
A half of a teaspoon.
Half of a teaspoon.
Yeah. Which you could cut.
Yeah,
you could definitely do 1/4 of a teaspoon.
Well, you think about the things we've got in here, and there's really not a lot of, potatoes taste, I love potatoes, but what do we, the butter.
Yeah, you add to them.
Yeah, and the carrots, and everything we've got in here, you need a little bit of spice.
Definitely add some.
And the other spice is the Italian dressing, which the other spice is Italian seasoning, which is one of my favorite seasonings. I use it a lot.
It's a good versatile.
Because it's a combination of all those good. Oh, those split peas are coming apart. Not gonna mind telling you, I was a little concerned, but see how they all came apart.
It's all good. Once they get boiling and stuff, they'll all. All right, so, and that's what our next step is. So now that everything's in the pot, we just need to bring this to a boil. And once boiling, we'll reduce the heat and then simmer it uncovered, like I said, for about an hour.
And check on it. Don't just turn it on and leave it because we didn't put all that water in there. And a lot of that's based on the humidity or the temperature you've got it on and that type of thing. So if it boils down, it will stick. So.
Yeah. So, and it might even foam a little bit.
Oh yeah.
So I have to watch that a little bit and just stir it a little bit to keep it from sticking to the bottom. So.
And this is one of our high fiber content foods that we're going to be fixing. So
yeah, I was very shocked. Of course, it is full of vegetables and the split peas and but 39% of your daily fiber needs in a serving of this, which is just 1 cup. So a serving size from this is 1 cup. So, which this feeds about 10 people. So you look at what this costs to feed 10 people, you can't hardly do anything to feed that many people for the cost of this recipe.
And I like the colors in it.
Yeah, no, it's very pretty.
So we're going to let this continue to boil. We're not going to keep you on here for an hour. We will be just right back with the magic of video. Hour later, we are finished, and you can see the finished product. To be honest, we cooked it a little less than an hour, but we think it's done. So I want to share that with you. It was probably a good 40-45 minutes, 45 for sure. But you might want to check it, because it's going to depend on a lot of your range, your heat source, your vegetables that you've got in there. How might be that I cut them smaller than what they did. So anyway, so I just want to let you all know that we think it's done. I've tasted it, it's done, and we are ready to serve it. You can see all that in there. I did use all but 1 cup of the water, so it has about 3 cups of water in it, because we put the 2 in there initially, and then I added, and Casey scraped the foam off the top, so we did do that. So now comes the question. That's pretty.
It is.
It's very pretty. Now comes the question of what are you going to serve with it. Some suggestions on the calendar were
a whole grain roll or crusty bread,
some type of bread,
croutons in it.
We're interested in finding out what you're going to serve with it, because this was up to you. Your choice. We want you to drop it in the comments of the Facebook, and that way everybody will get to see it, and we'll get some new ideas and share what will go with it. You know me, I always have to have a sandwich with my soup, which is not necessarily, it's not necessary, period. But lots of times I like to have a little bit of bread of some sort, and that sounds good. I also have Parmesan cheese left from another project I did, that I would just grate a little bit of Parmesan, not a lot, just a little bit to make it pretty. Plus I love cheese, so to add to it. So anxious to hear what you all think. So, I may be a new split pea fan. Okay.
Yeah, and it also said that you could substitute, like for lentils instead of the split peas. So there are some substitutions. You can also cook it in a slow cooker.
Yes.
Yeah. So there's some directions in the recipe for a slow cooker variation too.
So everybody needs to pick up their calendar, because it gives you lots of information.
Yeah, there's more than just the recipe. When you're looking, you have the recipe here, but then there's lots of information to go along with, the recipe. So, and every month has all of those different things in it.
Each recipe it has the guidelines for you. So,
and then there's some additional information at the back for food safety and other things. So, just great to have on hand. So,
we love our recipe calendars, and some recipes we like better than others, but you never know until you try them. So that's what we're trying to help you with, as to how to go about trying them and see how you can make them for your family and make them to your likings of your family.
Or if you're maybe looking for a healthier recipe option, or, to change it up. We sometimes get in a recipe rut where you just cook the same thing over and over again. So using this is a great way to get some new recipes.
I said I was going to become a split pea fan. I'm definitely a fan based on the expense too. This is a very inexpensive bowl of soup there.
Yeah.
And I think that's all I have for today. You have anything else?
No, we're good.
We're excited to be back with you.
Yeah.
Hope you're having as much fun as we are. And we'll be back in February.